Welcome back to day 3. So yesterday we looked at activating your pelvic floor, we looked at using your exhale to work with it and looking at different positions and how many reps you could do with those short holds. As I said, your short hold is really useful when you're looking at holding on to your pelvic floor with cough, sneeze, laugh, anything like that. Today we're going to be looking at endurance. So this is really helpful when you're on your feet for a long period of time. If you need the toilet, you need to hold on to get yourself to the bathroom, and building up a very different sort of control as to your short squeeze. So the short squeeze tends to be a little bit more explosive, a little bit faster, where your hold is more sustained, okay? And it's absolutely normal, common, we see it all the time where people go, well, I can totally do that one, but I can't do this one, and that's fine. So just like yesterday, we're going to use a prompt to help us learn and engage with our pelvic floor. And again, you might prefer the prompt we're going to use today. Just use the prompt that works for you best in these exercises, but I'm just trying to give you a variety to try and help you engage with your pelvic floor as much as possible. So today's prompt is right behind me. It's called Wink and Zip. And this is about lifting and drawing the pelvic floor so we get this nice connection. Now I've got a little demo here, and I'm going to bring this here. So this is a model of the pelvic floor. So imagine you'd sort of chopped me in half and then you'd tipped me up and looked inside. This is just one layer of the pelvic floor. Now these muscles here are actually your hip muscles, your gluteal muscles that come inside your pelvis and sit right next to it. But you can see here how this is very much in like a horseshoe shape. So this gap here is where your back passage would be. This gap here is where your front passage and your vagina would be. That little circle there isn't an opening. It's actually what we call your perineal body, which is a fibrous tissue that sits within your perineum. Okay, so the idea of today's prompt, our wink and zip, is to get this drawing forward. So if I turn it this way, you can see how the model is sort of in a scooped sort of shape. The idea of this is almost imagine a drawstring bag. So you're going to squeeze and wink at your back passage and imagine you're zipping it forward. It's like you're gathering and closing that drawstring bag. So we wink at the back passage. See if you can imagine you're holding on to wind, holding on to a trump. And then keep that connection with the back passage as you zip forwards towards your pubic bone, towards your front passage. So it's exhale, wink at the back passage, zip it forward to the front passage, and then let go. Now, just like yesterday, I still want you to breathe out as you do it. So breath in to prepare. Breathe out, wink at that back passage, draw it forwards towards your pubic bone, and then let go to start with. So I just want you to get used to that prompt before we go into the hold. Okay. So you might feel a little bit of gathering into your lower tummy. You might feel like a scooping, lifting action in your pelvic floor, and that is what we're looking for. So let's go into our hold. So you're going to breathe out, squeeze through that back passage, zip forwards towards the front passage, and then see if you can hold it there whilst you continue to breathe normally. You don't need to do big in and out breaths. Just let your breath move naturally through your body. So exhale, wink and zip, hold it there, breathe in, breathe out, and then let go. Could you do a full breath cycle? Try again. Let's see if you can do 2 breath cycles. So exhale, engage, wink and zip forwards. That's it. Hold it there. Just breathe in. Breathe out. Keep it there. Go on. And again, breathe in and breathe out and let go. Now, I don't mind which way you record your holds. Some people like to do it in seconds, and quite often, if you're using an app or anything like that, it will kind of time you in seconds, and that's completely normal. I like to think about it in breath cycles. How far can I get through that breath cycle? Because that tells me a lot about my diaphragm and my pelvic floor relationship. And we're going to be talking later in the week about optimizing that relationship, because it's really important, and one of the things can really up the power and the function of your pelvic floor and core stability. So I want you to think, how long can you hold it for? Is it a full breath cycle? Is it 1.5 breath cycles? Is it 2 breath cycles? Is it 10 seconds? Is it 4 seconds? And then record that. And just like you did yesterday, I then want you to go through different positions. Is it different in standing? Hands and knees, step stance, squat, bending down. You know, what positions are you finding it hard in? Think back to your inventory that we did on day 1. Where are your symptoms? Where are your watch points? What things are getting in the way of your progress? That's where you need to be training. So, as a recap, today we're using our prompt of wink and zip. So we exhale, engage from the back passage, zip forwards that connection to the front. You're trying to hold gently for endurance. So you don't have to hold super tight. You're just maintaining that connection, that contraction, staying there whilst you're breathing in and out. Do try and notice, if you start finding the tension is coming up into the shoulders, into the back, into the jaw, try and release that. If you find it better in a kind of unweighted position like lying, you can get a great technique, fantastic, stay there. If it falls to pieces when you stand up, come back to sitting or laying. We're just trying to map where you are in terms of your endurance. Your slow twitch muscle fibers are the ones that are helping you with that endurance work. So thank you for joining me today. Do take time to go through these like you did yesterday and record it down, so we've got a really clear mapping out of how your pelvic floor is functioning. Tomorrow we're going to be moving on to something called submaximals, and we're going to be looking at a different prompt again for training your pelvic floor. Thanks for joining me.